queers. It's the day after Thanksgiving and I'm feeling pretty tired. I just woke up and got ready. Today's plans are another dinner party. It's nonstop around here. I've already made a lot of videos. I just have to edit them and post them. And eventually I'll probably redo them and add diagrams and such. I still don't feel like I can put pictures up because I'm talking about bottom surgery stuff. But I think we'll figure out a way to somehow give access to something like that. Sorry, I almost fell off my chair. I promise I'm not hungover. But anyway, the decision now to do vocal cord surgery really hinges on sort of safety and putting a bit of a stop to my voice from going too low. And I'm hoping that the procedure helps me basically stay above a certain frequency or pitch. And so I picked a surgeon in San Francisco. I think that she is really good and is dedicated to basically trying to make this procedure better and more consistent, and offering all the ancillary services such as voice therapy, which she has in her office. My voice therapist is really good, and I've enjoyed the time in the sessions and the ideas and sort of therapy modalities that she has had me do. It has helped me understand better how voice is made. I'm not an ENT doctor, and so there's just so much science to it. It's a bit fascinating. But I did download some free app on the iPhone to help me measure my pitch in megahertz. And I had forgotten, or I guess, with my usual insecurities, I always feel like my voice isn't quite female enough, but at least by pitch and frequency, I'm actually quite solid female, ranging from like 2 to 250. I'd have to try pretty hard to get it down to 100 megahertz. I think that's the unit. To get it down that low and to keep it that low, that would be pretty hard for me to do at this point. And occasionally on some of the sort of the ending part of my kind of sing-songy type of speech pattern, it does hit like 300, but that's too high. I wouldn't want my voice to be that high. She explained to me that it's not just the pitch that plays into how a voice is produced and how it is perceived. It's also resonance, and she really had to explain to me what that means. So our voices are made when air comes out of our lungs through the trachea and out through the vocal cords. After that, there is a chamber with all kinds of like structures that eventually shape our voice, and that includes our oral cavity, where our teeth and our palate, both the hard and soft palate, and our tongue is. And so it's like the echo chamber, so to speak, of where that sound goes after leaving the vocal cord. And so there are a lot of manipulation exercises, conscious and unconscious, that end up ultimately producing our voice. I hope I'm explaining this as scientifically accurate as possible. That's kind of how I understood it when I went to the initial consult and my therapy sessions for voice. And so if someone wants to share any thoughts about the science of it, I'm all ears and I'm open to it. I'm really going through this not so much as a doctor and a surgeon, I'm going through it just as a patient, like everybody else, and it's new to me. The actual procedure itself is shortening the vocal cords, but not in the sense of cutting some of it off and stretching it and reattaching it. It's not that kind of shortening. It's basically closing up the apex of the vocal cords. The vocal cords look like a V, and so by closing the apex, it shortens the functional length of the vocal cords, and somehow that changes the production of sound. See, my voice just kind of dropped and got a little bit more raspy there, and that's what I'm hoping to prevent. Not so much that it's going to be a huge alteration in my voice, but like I said, maybe a stop to allowing my voice to fall to that level. But I'm pretty realistic about it. There are risks associated with it. The repair could obviously fall apart. The repair could scar poorly. And that could lead to potentially worsening of my voice. And so I'm pretty realistic in going into it with the hope that it does get better, but I'm prepared to have my voice be the same and hopefully not worse or really weak or anything. One of the things that was interesting is that I did have a trach shave as part of my initial set of surgical transition procedures, and I thought that my voice never was affected from it. I was also starting hormones and watching YouTube videos on voice training, and I actually thought that my voice got better from my previous life. But when I went to my ENT appointment, they did a laryngoscope where they put a camera down my throat, and I'm awake for it. It was really weird and very gaggy. But I would watch the screen and see my vocal cords, and apparently my vocal cords are abnormal, and it's hard to tell whether that was from the trach shave or that was just the way I was born. But one of my vocal cords is kind of weak. It's partially paralyzed, and so it doesn't shut all the way. So my vocal cords don't meet in the middle with certain motions like they should. There's a little bit of a gap. And I'm not exactly sure, and I still don't understand how that plays into my voice, because obviously I'm able to speak, and I'm usually in the female range anyway. But it was a surprising finding, and I have at least one patient that I know that had a laryngoscope after I performed trachea shave, and apparently she has the same thing going on. So I don't know, maybe this is a thing that happens after trach shave on some folks. But that's pretty interesting. I am somehow not normal in my vocal cords. There are ways to treat it, according to my doctor, and so it just remains to be seen whether after surgery any of those other procedures to make my vocal cords normal and come together like they should, whether that is gonna be needed or even beneficial. So I will keep you updated as I recover from surgery. So there you have it. Surgical transition. I thought it was over. I thought it was behind me. And, here I'm finding that I'm going under the knife once again after all of these years. So please wish me luck, hope for the best, and see what happens. So it's time to make my cup of coffee and fold laundry, actually, before I get into the editing. Bye.